Welcome to everyone that is attending, and thank you so much for taking the time to attend this very important webinar in a very important week that will celebrate or commemorate Child Protection Week. And my name is Phakamile Khumalo. I lead the Web Rangers program in South Africa, and we are joined by many of our Web Rangers today to discuss, like I said, a very important issue around child online safety. So to commemorate National Child Protection Week, Media Monitoring Africa, together with the Department of Communications and Digital Technologies, Google, Facebook, the Film and Publications Board, Media Development and Diversity Agency, MTN, and Diana Schwartz attorneys are hosting this very first webinar together with our Web Rangers under the overarching national theme, which is Let Us All Protect Children During COVID-19 and Beyond. And that's the theme that was announced by the minister under the Department of Social Development on Sunday. And as the country gears up to move to level 3 of the national lockdown, which starts today, children are still among the groups of people whose activities are very, very limited by regulation. And as a result, children are turning to social media for both schooling and play. And oftentimes with other necessary digital literacy skills to successfully navigate the internet. And so for Child Protection Week, Web Rangers decided to host a webinar that focused on three important child online safety issues that they believe cannot be left out of the conversation when we're having around child online discussions, especially during this time of COVID-19. These themes, and our Web Rangers will talk more about these themes when we enter into the next session. I'm just going to quickly highlight the themes. So the first theme is around access to devices and data alongside digital literacy skills and tools and resources so that young people become active digital citizens. The second theme is around participation of children in leading policies and discussions related to child online safety. And then the last theme that is going to be discussed today is around digital literacy for parents or guardians. And so these are really important themes that our young people, our Web Rangers wanted to discuss on a very important week. And to also then bring together or create a platform that brings together government, business, and civil society, and to kind of hold them to account on the contributions that they are putting into place around child online safety during Child Protection Week, but also beyond. What are the commitments that government, business, and civil society are making in this really critical time of COVID-19, we want to discuss that and give a platform for business and government and civil society to be able to give back, to share with us the kind of plans that they have. And so our webinar is really going to be structured in this way. The next session that we're going to be going into, which is 60 minutes, is around Web Rangers interacting, discussing these themes in detail together with the partners that I've already mentioned, the Web Ranger partners that are here today, to help kind of give us an overview of the kind of plans that they have around child online safety. Then we're going to open the platform to audiences, so the other young people that are attending the webinar can also then share their input and their experiences around child online safety, and what are their concerns that government and business can walk away knowing, so that when they are in important discussions and making decisions, they can then put forward the recommendations that are put forward by the children that are attending this webinar today. Then lastly, we'll have a closing with our Web Rangers and partners. And that's really going to be how we structure our webinar for today. Again, I want to acknowledge the people that are in the room before we start. We have our very important Web Rangers that are attending in numbers. Thank you so much again for making the time to come and engage in such an important discussion with our adults in the room, which are our partners today. And that is the Department of Communications and Technology and Digital Technologies. We have Google that is represented today. We have Facebook. We have the Film and Publications Board that is represented today. We have the Media Development and Diversity Agency, MDDA, that is represented today. We have MTN and Diana Schwartz attorneys that are represented today. And these are really our important stakeholders and partners in Web Rangers. And that's why it's so important for us to be able to engage with them and have our Web Rangers engage with them on the different issues that they feel are important and that cannot be left out of discussions that are happening today around child protection. And what are the different efforts and different fields that are involved and contribute towards ensuring that our young people are safe. And so with that, I am going to then hand over to our very first speaker, Joy, who's going to take us through the first theme, which is access to devices and data. alongside digital literacy skills, tools, and resources so that young people become active digital citizens. Joy, hand over to you.
All right, greetings everybody. As mentioned, my name is Joy, and the topic I received for today is reasons why young people aren't active online or aren't active digital citizens. So there are many reasons, of course, but I'll be focusing on the three main problems that to data, access to devices, as well as access to digital literacy. So for me, the first two, access to data and access to devices, work hand in hand with each other because you can't have a device not have access to data or connectivity, and you can't have access to connectivity and data but not have a working device. So I think the solution would be that devices are supplied not only at schools but also at home so that it's easier for young people to work with and they have access to it both at school and at home, so it's easy for them to be active digital citizens. And for me, the most important one is probably access to digital literacy, because even if you have access to data as well as devices, but you're not well informed on how to be safe online or how to use the net correctly, what to do when you encounter cyber ills or have cyberbullying, then you can't really surf the net properly. You feel scared or perhaps overwhelmed, which then forces you to no longer want to be online, and therefore you won't become an active digital citizen. So the three are very important and they work together very well. And that's the three main reasons today why we don't have a lot of active digital citizens. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joy. And do you want to now pose your kind of questions around under your theme that you'd like the different stakeholders that are present today to be able to highlight and give deeper thinking into?
Yes, I would. So one of the ideas that I've been having is that, seeing as how it's very dangerous for the young people to be returning to school, would it not rather be a smarter or perhaps a better idea to take the money investing in trying to sanitize the different schools and clubs and sanitize all of those things, take that money and rush everybody around, or perhaps trying to get them devices that everybody can, a smartphone or a laptop. Would that not be a better idea, perhaps?
And I think that question, you're directing that question to government?
Yes, I am. Yes.
Okay. We have representation from government. Can we get our partners that are in the room to answer? But before we do that, George has a comment saying the question was not clear due to connection. Can you just ask your question again so that everyone understands the question and is able to then answer?
Yeah, okay, so our question is it not a better idea to use the money that we are using to sanitize the buildings and everything to rather perhaps build connectivity lines by rural areas, or perhaps even try to buy devices that everybody has a device, and perhaps also build connectivity lines and everything for rural areas so that we don't have to get the device to use. Everybody has access to connectivity and therefore it's safer for everybody.
Thank you, Joy. Do we have a government representative? I know we have the Film Publications Board, potentially also DCDT. that are present today that can help us answer these questions? If we don't have anyone, then we'll move on to the next question. It just means that we will then have to kind of jot up the question down and then have someone get back to us with regards to the very important questions that we are asking today. So do you have any more questions that you'd like to talk about under your theme? We're going to get back to Joy. Joy, you had other questions that you wanted to address to the different stakeholders that are present today. Joy, are you here?
Yes. So the question that I wanted, sorry. So the question that I wanted to ask was about digital literacy. Could we not make it a subject at schools? I think this is a question directed to government, probably is. Could we not have digital literacy, programs like Web Rangers at each and every school? Because a lot of the things I learned this year helped me quite well last year. I was a Web Ranger last year, helped me quite a lot. And I started informing my peers, my friends, my family, adults around me, and they found it extremely helpful. So if we could have programs like, which are actually quite vital at each and every school, why can we not make that a possibility?
Okay, I think your question is also directly yes to government, but also other institutions that are working with young people. What are their efforts in the field in making sure that digital literacy skills is part of everyday learning? So do we have maybe the Film and Publication Board can give us an overview of what their efforts are in the field in terms of contributing towards ensuring that other young people are active digital citizens and acquire these critical skills around digital literacy.
Hi, Phakamile. Hi, Joy. My name is Obakeng Maimani. I'm the Campaign and Outreach Coordinator at the Film and Publication Board. Basically, my responsibility, it's basically to preach the gospel of the Film and Publication Board. And what we primarily focus on is digital literacy. So we try in our utmost best to reach as many schools as we can. As you know, in every organization, there are targets that you need to obviously execute and to implement and to coordinate. So we try to go in different provinces. We do have an outreach program that we do quarterly. They are basically divided into different themes in every single quarter. We have a flagship event that we usually do every single year, which is Safer Internet Day. I don't know if you're aware of it or you've attended one of the events that we do, Joy, but that is one of the biggest flagship of our digital campaigns that we do. But what you can do, Joy, if you want us to come to your school and to inform and educate your learners, please write to us on our digital platforms, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. But we really do try to give services all around the country as possible as we can. But please do, I'll leave on the group chat, I'll leave our Instagram or our social pages where you can get us or where you want to invite us so we can do a community engagement with the youth or with your friends or with anybody around the community. We are more than willing. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Obakeng, for that. And I've written on the group chat, I really want us to be very interactive with the group chat. So I've written there, tip 1, write to FPB if you want them to come to your school. And then Obakeng will add to that by providing you with the contact details if you want them to come to your school. I know right now it is a bit tricky with COVID-19, but write to them, and once they've settled and once we know what's happening with schools, there might be a possibility of them making a plan to come on board and assist you. And this is one of the really important things that we advocate for around digital literacy, that we want more and more schools on board and engaged on issues around digital literacy. Manala, also from FPB, wants to comment and add. Please feel free.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's Manala from the Film and Publication Board. To add on what Obakeng has said, as part of our stakeholder strategy, we are also in contact with the Department of Education, where we would like to add digital literacy as one of the school syllabus for, what do they call it? We used to call it guidance in my time, guys, so I'm very old.
We call it life orientation now.
Yes, life orientation. So we are in contact with the Department of Education, where we will start at primary school level, because we know that there's a lot of digital labs that are being added to schools, and we would like to have all the learners to practice safe cyber practice when they are at school or at home. So we are hoping that in the next year or two, we'll be able to also roll it out to schools, starting from primary schools up to your grade 12. And also we are developing a information toolkit that will also be available on our YouTube channel, on Instagram, on all our social media platforms, where as parents or as learners, you can go on the toolkit and you can share it with your peers. So we are trying to get all that digital safety information into all the schools, as Joy wanted to know. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Manala. And can you also share when will this guide be available on the different platforms? Do you have an idea?
Because of the lockdown, it's going quite slowly, but we have started the process, and we are hoping that in Q2, which is from July, August, September, we'll be finalizing it. So by August, September, we should have something that is final, and as soon as we have it ready and as soon as it's posted, we will inform all our partners and we'll share with you the links where you can get hold of it. It will also be on our website where as a learner, as a teacher, as a parent, you can go there and there'll be different topics that you can use to teach your peers or your children or the people that are in your community.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm just aware we have 5 minutes until this topic. We have Yolanda and then we have Diana. Can Yolanda?
Thank you, Phakamile. Hi, everyone. My name is Yolanda, as Phakamile said. I work for Google, based in South Africa. So Joy, you sort of raised a lot of important points in her speech as well as in her questions. I think I want to address a couple of those in 2 minutes. She mentioned one around devices, and I think her question was around, how can we use devices, and learn during this period. I'm not sure because I know the line was cutting, but she was asking, are there other ways that we can continue teaching and learning? And as much as I'm not from government, but at Google, we've been trying to really help schools during this period continue learning. So we have Google for Education, and what we've done for COVID-19 is that we've made it free, for all schools to sign up, and use these tools to continue teaching and learning. But to Joy's point, you need devices and you also need the data. And that has been a big challenge, in South Africa. But, as a company, we are trying to at least help schools where we can to continue teaching and learning in a very safe environment. And then she also raised a question around digital literacy and whether programs like WebRangers could be part of school of formal school teaching and learning. Like Manala said, there are so many efforts to engage government on this. Last year, with MMA, we actually sort of ran a pilot in the Western Cape, and it was really born out of WebRangers. So the Western Cape Education Department was really inspired by the work that the WebRangers of 2019 were doing, and they wanted to find out how can this be part of life orientation. So since then, we've been working with the provincial government there to actually include online safety curriculum as part of life orientation. At this moment right now, that content is being taught in schools. Currently it's in high schools, but there's a bigger and wider effort happening, and it's great to see FPB also pushing for that to happen. So Joy, rest assured that the various partners are really trying to engage on this front. Over and above that, for COVID-19 specifically, what we've also launched as Google is this campaign called Learn Anywhere. And as part of this, we're trying to we are giving free webinars. Whether you're a young person looking for a job and you're trying to figure out how to write your CV, you sign up for that. Or you're a parent trying to figure out how can you help your child be safe online, you sign up for that. So all of these resources are there. As Phakamile said, we'll share those links, but there's a lot of things happening in some of the things that you've mentioned.
Thank you so much, Yolanda. And please, again, when partners are talking about these really important platforms and resources, and which is a major reason why we're having these discussions, is so that young people can have the direction and the platforms for them to be able to engage in digital literacy. So very important, Yolanda, please add those links on the group chat so that everyone has access to those. We're going to have Diana, who also wanted to comment on the issue. Then we have to move on to the next issue, which is going to be addressed by Rez. So Rez, please prepare yourself while Diana has the floor.
Hi, everybody. I'm so happy to see you all. I hope that you're keeping safe and well. You look well, so that's good. So just from a private sector perspective, so Diana Schwartz Attorneys is a law firm, but we also push and drive for online safety education. And obviously not being part of government, but also engaging with government on various levels to also try and get online safety education available to all students. And part of the project that we've been working on for a number of years is to actually go into public schools and schools in the rural areas, especially, to give educational talks on social media. So we have been engaging with government, and we still will do so in 2020, and hopefully we'll see a rollout of that as well. And then obviously contributing to web ranges and, like Yolanda said about the wonderful curriculum that Google has done with the partners that's in the Western Cape. So, we are pushing for that on all levels. I think all our partners are actually doing what we can to get that in, because we believe it's very, very important for you guys to be taught this in schools. And obviously from a government perspective, I can't give an answer as to the devices, but I think perhaps one of the obstacles in relation to that is, being able to provide online education that is safe. So just being, just distributing devices and things like that definitely gives us access, and it definitely helps us to connect and be a part of the online world and get easier access to education. But they also have to be quite careful in protecting our learners as well. So that's perhaps one of the reasons why. But I think it's a very good suggestion, especially now during COVID-19, to say, well, all these resources, if we're not able to go back to school in person, can we actually get these funds to be able to distribute to learners who don't have devices? So I think that's great questions, Joy. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Diana. I'm going to move on now to the second theme, but before we do that, in concluding of this theme, so this theme was access to devices and data alongside digital literacy, skills, tools, and resources so that our young people become active digital citizens. I think we got an understanding. Oh, I see Farai from Facebook would like to give an overview. Not a problem. You can definitely do that. We're going to give you 2 minutes to do that.
Thank you, Pakamile. Apologies that I'm stealing a little bit of time here. But I just wanted to give a very, very short overview. It won't be long at all, to give you an idea of the digital literacy programs that Facebook is running also, that are really focused on digital literacy and safety as well. And we also have Sylvia on the line, who's our safety manager for Sub-Saharan Africa. So she'll speak a little bit more to our safety efforts a bit later. But we've got Ilis Olam in South Africa, which is in partnership with Digify Africa. We're taking it virtual this year, so we're also trying to scale it. And it's essentially a digital literacy program, and it's offered to youth in communities and in secondary schools and after school programs in particular. And it's essentially designed to educate young digital citizens on how to be safe and responsible online. And it covers a mix of online safety, privacy, news literacy, digital citizenship as well. So there's that. And then we also have in South Africa a program called Ezibo, and it partners with an organization called Asikana Network. And it's also a digital lit program. And I don't want to get into too much detail or too much in the woods of both of the programs. But what I would like to do is, or just to particularly speak to Joy's ask about how we scale these to more schools and include them into school curriculums. Happy to coordinate with the Web Rangers partners about particularly helping us with reach with the schools that are currently under the Web Rangers program, so that we can incorporate them into some of these.
Lovely. I think we've received the first commitment from one of our partners, because one of the important things that we also wanted to get out of this meeting is that what are the commitments from the different partners in prioritizing protecting children online. And so thank you very much, Facebook. And we, as Web Rangers and partners, I speak on all partners, but we are very delighted to be able to take these discussions, these very important discussions forward, ensuring that more young people have access to digital literacy skills. It's a shame in concluding this this theme that the more specific details around access to devices and data, which I think falls more on government, hasn't really been dealt with. But we're hoping that this is just the start of the discussions. When we move forward and we talk more about online safety, and we talk more about having more young people online because of the new reality that we find ourselves in, government will jump on board and we'll have more of these discussions with them. And they'll be able to share with us and our young people what are the strategies, what are the commitments, how are they prioritizing access to devices and data for young people. So thank you very much, Joy, and everyone who's able to comment on this theme. We'll now move forward to Rez's theme, which is around child participation, especially in policies and discussions that are related to child online safety. Rez, if you're ready, please take it away.
Greetings, everyone. So I'll be talking about the participation of children in leading discussions leading to the child online safety. I find that children participation is very important because children and adults don't experience the same things. Because we find that this type of discussions are led by adults, but you always find that children voice out so much better solutions or set of ideas when compared to adults. And in these discussions, children voice out things that they don't discuss with their parents or legal guardians. So in these discussions, they get to say their worries and challenges happening online mostly. Things like pornography, sexting, and online grooming, and many more. Then at the end, children are well informed and as they learn about digital footprint and strategies of being safe online. So I think if children participate in leading such discussions, they gain more knowledge, become confident, and the information that they get can change how they think in a very better way. So they become better citizens. And I believe that the children will then pass the information or knowledge to those who are less informed. So personally, I think that children leading these discussions is very, very important because they are the generation of tomorrow and they can lead us successfully. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rez. And I think also I'd like you to also speak about your experiences. So you were one of the young people that got a chance to go to the IGF 2019 in Germany last year. So, and you also got an opportunity to also be part of the artificial intelligence workshop with UNICEF earlier this year. So I'd like you to speak on your experiences around child participation and what benefits did you find being part of important policy discussions, especially at a high level, such as the IGF, and also being roped into maybe a not familiar field like artificial intelligence. And what are some of the things that you came out of or that you took out of these discussions or these participating in these events?
Oh wow, what an experience! You know, going to Germany and being part of the IGF was such an honor. I found it so adorable because sitting there and everyone listening, voicing out the things that some of the people there don't think of, and getting information on how other people think and see things from their own perspective. It's very good, and now you turn out to think out of the box and be vigilant out there. And now, getting this information made me to realize to realize and fix my. Oh,
yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, so I was saying that you get out to think out the box and learn this info, and then show other people about this information and tell them about their mistakes and how things are done and not done, and how to to be safe on online. You know, because I think at my age, we teenagers tend to do some crazy things on social media. We tend to do pranks and all those things, and we tend to forget, let's say because they don't know, they don't know that this whatever they do on the internet kinds of builds a reputation for them. You know, for instance, whatever that you put on your status, on your LinkedIn, kind of shows us your interests and beliefs about everything. So this information has helped me a lot, and finding that I've been called by
nice.
And finding that I was participating in the UNICEF was also such an honor that, you know, I get to become part of these discussions, because and I learn about things like AI and voice out my opinions or what I think is right at that time. So everything is just so
okay. So not to cut you short, I don't know if you were done with your sharing your experiences with us.
Yeah, yes, ma'am, it's fine.
Okay, then you can shoot straight to the different questions that you have for the different partners that are here, and yeah, we can get started on your theme.
You know, ma'am, I'm kind of worried about those teenagers or children living in the underdeveloped area. You know, I would like to know what is the government doing in the underdeveloped areas for them at least to have access to the internet, or if not, at least to make sure that it updated. Because at my age, we tend to experience a lot of things, so at least they can also be active citizens.
If I'm understanding you correctly, are you asking about what is government doing in the different in more under-resourced areas to be able to include child participation, or are you asking about access to the internet? So I didn't quite get your question. Sorry about that.
Oh, ma'am, I was saying about access to the internet, because I was once there and I saw how they were struggling. But you know, I can tell that having them to have access to the internet is quite a problem. But at least to keep them updated about what's going on in the world, and so they can also be active digital citizens.
Okay, so your question is, what is government doing, or more broadly, what are the different partners that are in the room doing to ensure that more young people, especially in the underdeveloped areas, what are they doing to ensure that more young people have access? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so do we have our partners that can speak on that in the room? Because access is, yes, it's largely government, but there are also other partners that can be able to provide, or that do provide, or that assist, or that give awareness around access to the internet. It looks like we don't have anyone that can speak on it. Again, it's another issue that we will definitely highlight and seek direction on who we can be able to ask, get those relevant answers for us, and then obviously direct them back to you. Oh yes, Diana, you wanted to say? You wanted to talk?
Just obviously from a legal perspective, there is a lot of emphasis on making access to the internet a human right. You know, in the legal profession, it is believed to be a human right and must be enforced in terms of our constitution. And I think in the legal sector, there is a lot of work being done around recognizing that legal right and affording that access to every citizen in South Africa. So I think the answer is yes, it should be a legal right, it should be a human right, and it should be enforced as such, and therefore government should do the necessary to ensure that every citizen of South Africa has access to the internet.
Thank you for that. And you're quite right. Yes, it is a human right. But we know and we know the digital divide in South Africa is very big, and a lot needs to be done to kind of bridge that gap. And William has a comment on the group chat. He said it's a big issue that MMA has been doing a lot of work on to help encourage access for all, and it is supported by digital literacy. Definitely, yes. MMA has been doing a lot of work around access to the internet. Obviously, it has to happen on a bigger scale. It has to happen also with partners coming together. It cannot be a few people in the field doing this. It has to happen in a bigger scale. And we hope that again when we go back to government and we relay these questions to them, and we highlight what came out of this discussion, we can then get some answers to this. We have a question. My name is Sisa and I'm 8 years old. I have a big question. Yes, please ask your question.
To ask if there's someone being nice to you on an online game and they ask to be friends and you don't even know them, should you say yes?
That is a very, very good question, and a very good question in a right platform with our web rangers here to advise you. So definitely, can we get one of our web rangers who can be able to advise Sisa? I'm going to first ask the web rangers to please advise.
Can I speak?
Yes, Karabo, yes.
It is not a good idea to interact with them because you don't know if the person on the other side is actually somebody that is your age. Or, you know, it could be some scary guy that is trying to lure you in and then it's going to kidnap you. And we don't want that. We want you to stay safe and we don't want bad things happening to you. So if they ask for any information like your name, your surname, where you stay, your phone number, anything like that, you say no and you immediately tell an adult that you trust. That could be your aunt, your mom, your dad, or anybody like that. Do not give them any of your information whatsoever.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello.
Thank you very much for that.
Hello.
Again, going back to child participation, if we allow platforms like this, then we also empower other young people that are not part of the program, like Sisa, to be able to ask these important questions, right? And so I want to go back to because we don't have a representative from government to be able to tell us around child participation, what specific stuff they've been doing, and maybe other partners from Facebook and Google can also come in there. But with what Web Rangers has been doing, has been really providing a platform through these webinars, but also through policy engagements and discussions in allowing young people to voice their opinions and in allowing young people to firstly gain the critical information around digital literacy, around the different topics like what we're discussing today, and then to formulate an idea and formulate opinions from themselves that they can be able then to voice out. And we give them the platforms, and we've been very privileged to have been invited into very important high-level discussions where young people have been afforded the opportunity to be in the forefront, giving their opinions and their views. Like Rez said, we last year, Joy and Rez, who are actually attending today, were given the platform to go to Germany and to represent and to talk about child participation, actually, and online safety at the IGF 2019. We also had an opportunity together with UNICEF earlier this year to be able to engage our young people on artificial intelligent workshop where young people voice their opinions about what worries them about artificial intelligence, what excites them, and what do they want to tell big policymakers to look out for from a child perspective around artificial intelligence. And those are very powerful tools in making sure that we are amplifying the voices of our young people. And so, not to gloat, but Web Rangers has really been able to successfully incorporate child participation in the work that we do, and we really hope that even our partners can do more work and we can partner in different aspects of online safety to ensure that more young people have access to these platforms and are able to be empowered and to walk away knowing that they are contributing to making their country a better place. We have a question from Rorisang. Please ask your question, Rorisang.
Yes, thank you, Sis Pagamile. Now, I would like to take you back to the children having access to devices, right? And like having access to the whole online learning stuff. Now, what I want to address is that we all have sides that give us information about this type of stuff, or if we have questions that we're supposed to work on as part of schoolwork, but our textbooks don't necessarily have that information. Sometimes we are redirected to other sites that advertise inappropriate products for people our age. Like we have sites that would advertise enhancement pills or something like that. Now, how do we ensure that we don't come across?
We have partners here that can be able to answer this. I'm going to give the platform to partners that can be able to address this directly.
If I may, you know, what Rorisang is asking is a very important question. And again, for those perhaps who might have forgotten, but I'm from Google, and one of the things that we try to do is to ensure that we give our users, children, parents, tools that will enable them to sort of filter out content that may be inappropriate. So one of the things that, you know, I would recommend is to enable safe search. So instead of using the normal Google search, you go on Google, search under settings. You should click on settings. Then there should be something that says, and then you enable that. And what that does, even though it's not 100%, but what that does is that it really tries to ensure that the content that is given to you is appropriate for your age. Safe search is actually meant to follow enough. So that's one practical thing, you know, that you can definitely do, and you can start doing even today as you know, continue your schoolwork. The second one is so that's on Google search. The second one is around YouTube. So obviously now this depends how old you are, but if you are a child who is using YouTube and you're another, and what YouTube Kids does is it provides again a wall so that all the content, or at least most of the content that you get is child friendly. And so it also helps the parent to select, you know, certain channels or content material that they want, that they would like for you to view, and those that they wouldn't want their kids to view. So that's also one of the things, you know, that you can definitely have a conversation around your parents and also, you know, your school to tell people about these tools. The third thing that I must say, you know, is around reporting, right? You'll remember, as I've been speaking, that I keep on saying it's not 100%. In instances where platforms are not getting it right, you report. So how do you report? So, you know, on YouTube, for example, under each video, there is a flag that you can press. You select on that flag, and then you would say, then it would give you sort of a checkbox in terms of what is wrong with that video, what you think is not right about that video, and you can say, this, you know, is inappropriate content. And as a company, you know, we take it's very seriously when it comes to child sexual abuse material or inappropriate content that lands on a child's device, or, you know, or you stumble upon it. So rest assured that, you know, there are teams working to ensure that you don't stumble upon these things. The last thing that I will mention is that when it comes to reporting, of course, you know, maybe perhaps you have not seen it, or perhaps you don't know how to report these things. We also work with a host of civil society organizations, MMA, Media Monitoring being one of them, and our Trusted Flagger program, where when they do see inappropriate stuff on our platforms, they can easily say, hey, Google, this is happening, please take it down. So, you know, there are so many resources available and sort of efforts that we are trying to ensure that we curb this. But it's an ongoing thing, you know, and we constantly need people to report and flag this so that we can take it down or redirect where necessary. So yeah, so that's basically from the Google point of view. I'll also paste a link here that can tell you a bit more about Safe Search and all of that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Yolanda. Very useful information. Again, please add all the resources that you talked about on the group chat. Sylvia from Facebook would like to add something. Please go ahead, Sylvia.
Yes, thank you so much. And thank you for organizing this and bringing all the very important constituents who are important to us as Facebook, and because child safety is very important to us. And on the question on ensuring that the experience of our young users is safe, I would like to just mention that it's very important, number one, to be honest as a young person when you're interacting online, and just to ensure that even as you're signing up, because this is where we see where a lot of the problems come in, and young people start seeing content that is actually meant for adults. So it's very important. If you're 13, between the ages of 13 and 18, Facebook and Instagram is available to you, but there's also, we ensure that we put in place privacy and security security tools that will enable you to have a safe experience online. So if you're between the ages of 13 to 18, your profile will be private by default. So meaning that a lot of people who will be looking for you on other online platforms will not be able to see your information. You will also not be targeted by ads that are meant to be for for adults or older people on Facebook. So it's very important for you to ensure that you're giving that you're being honest even as you're interacting online. And just to add on to what Yolanda said also about reporting, whenever you come across content that is not appropriate for you or is disturbing, there is always the option to report, both on Facebook and on Instagram. And this report gets to us, and we have a content policy team that looks at this, and we've prioritized issues such as child exploitation imagery. So anything that would be affect the safety of children is considered to be a priority issue for us. And in addition to this, we also ensure that we're giving young people age-appropriate experiences. I liked Cisa's question in terms of when people are approaching her online, should she respond? And this is an 8-year-old from the chat that I could see there. So it's also important to ensure that we have age-appropriate products for children to interact with online. And as you know, we launched a product called M-Kids in the US and in other parts of the world. And we are also thinking of launching the same and bringing it to children within our context in Africa, to ensure that children have age-appropriate platforms for them to interact with content that is suitable for them, with content that also looks at their digital literacy needs, because we also see this age as a good place to start having conversations with children on their online experiences, online education, online ethics, digital citizenship, just to ensure that they are interacting safely with each other. In terms of children contributing to policy discussions on child safety, this is also very important to us. We do have a youth portal within our safety center at Facebook, and I will share this in the link. And in developing the youth portal, we did have discussions and with youth or with young people who use our platforms to understand what are the online safety issues that they are coming across, and ensure that the resources that we are providing within the safety center and within the youth portal in the safety center address the safety issues that they are encountering. And within the youth center, you will find it has 2 areas. One looks at the blogs and this blog is actually a compilation of stories from young people themselves. So they share their online experience. They share how they've been running active. Sorry for that. Yes, I was saying that within the youth center, we have the principles, which was also developed in collaboration with young people to come up with the principles of engaging online. And you can go through this and we'll give you more information on this, as well as a blog that gives young people a voice to share their experience online, to share with other young people how they can stay safe online. And we're always looking to engage with more young people to get this information on our site. So whenever you're engaging online, go to the safety center, go to the help center, and you will receive this information. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Again, if possible, and I see Farai is adding those resources and those links. Thank you so much. Reese has a question. Please ask your question.
Hi everyone, I'm Reese. I'm 16 and I'm from Cape Town. I wanted to add to what Joy said. Your point was amazing, and I think we really should look to providing more devices so that children can access this digital literacy. But I was wondering how we could try and ensure the physical protection of children who then receive these devices. If they're in vulnerable areas where they are a threat for having these devices, perhaps threat of crime, things like that. I was thinking, what sort of ways could we promote the children learning ways to protect themselves and to take control of their devices once they receive it? Would it be through the digital literacy as well, or other aspects?
Thank you very much. That's a very good question. I think part of it, thank you, Yolanda. It's a good question, but also a very difficult question. And part of it might be that we are not able to answer fully that question because we don't have the different stakeholders that will help us answer this question. But from what I have seen with our young people in our web ranges is that the web ranges curriculum and how it's structured and the way that we engage with our young people is that they are also, I don't want to say street smart, but they also they gain critical skills around how to manage having these devices. For example, a web ranger will tell you that if I know that I'm going to get a taxi, I'm going to get on a taxi and go to a mall where I'm going to be meeting up with my friends and we're going to be going to RocoMamas, and I want to tag myself on that, I will tag myself after when I've come back home. So the risk of being seen with a phone or a tablet out in public is less likely to happen because they know that their phones need to be off or need to be in their pockets or in their bags, and they will do the communicating they need to do either before they go to the place or after they've gone to the place. But it certainly doesn't take away all the risks that are involved in especially taking care or addressing issues of safety with these devices. And I don't know how other partners feel about it or what they want to comment, but there is some element of safety even with the physical devices that we do kind of touch on, but it's not enough. It's definitely not enough, and we do need to be able to be aware of the environment where we find our young people, and also being cognizant of the fact that not everyone lives in gated communities where there's always kind of a security walking around the streets up and down, and so more needs to be done, and it's something for us to think about. Definitely, because if we want, like what Joy was saying, if we want more people to be connected, if we want more people to have devices, even just from a perspective of school, like when young people are going to school and they carry tablets, what are the risk factors that they are exposing themselves to? And so, very good question, difficult question, and I don't know what other partners have to say about this around how can we further protect our young people in ensuring the sustainability of these devices and ensuring that they are going to continue being online in a safe way, both online and offline.
Sure, Reese, is a very, very good question. I think that it is definitely something we should consider as part of digital literacy because it affects digital literacy. So especially if we do get to the stage where we would like everyone to have access to the internet, and which would mean also having devices, we should also educate our young people on how to be street smart, for those who don't know how to be street smart, and to protect their devices. I mean, obviously, for example, if you're walking on the street on your way home, after you've called the taxi and you're busy texting on your phone, it's not a safe thing to do because you can be easily mugged or your phone stolen. So I think it would be good for us to consider to put that as part of our curriculum as a little addition, just with regards to physical safety, just like we talk about not putting our locations on and being geotagged so that people can't track where we are. We should also then just provide a little bit of practical tips perhaps on how to stay sort of safe physically when we have devices in possession, like keeping them out of sight and when using them, where to store them properly, etc. I think it's definitely a good question which we can apply ourselves to and try and provide a bit of assistance there.
Thank you very much. And worth noting that definitely we can add a few sections on definitely that to cover the kind of physical safety that young people need to consider. Joy, I see in the group chat you want to add. Yes, please. I think we'll end with Joy and then we'll conclude the section. We've really kind of derailed, but I think it's okay that we've derailed because we've been derailed by young people, which means that they have other important questions that they want to address, and this is definitely the platform in which they can do that. So, Joy, you'll have the final point on this, and then we'll move on to the next section.
The point I want to make is just a very small point. It's probably irrelevant, but it helps. So Risang said that a lot of us go on sites looking for work, obviously on stuff we can't find in our textbooks. And a lot of my teachers have complained that the work that we are either writing in our tests and exams is not really true, or it's not 100% true. So it's just something we learned at Web Rangers, where on a site, you know, the HTTPS address, HTTP address, I think just there at the top. No, it's the URL. Yeah, the HTTPS address. Yeah, that one. If it doesn't have that S on like next to it, then it's not a secure site, and the information is probably not 100% correct. So if it does have that S next to it, then you can use the information. I have gotten some questions incorrect that were for a lot of marks, and I've been very upset with myself. So I just don't want you guys to make the same mistakes. Cool.
Thank you so much, Joy, for that. It's HTTPS. I think now we are going to move on to the last theme for today. In concluding the second theme, which is around child participation, and not a lot was said around, or not a lot from our partners around what commitments are they making to ensure that young people are more engaged on these really important issues, especially now during COVID-19, because this is a new field for everyone. This is a new kind of normal for everyone, and it is important as we move forward to be able to include the voices of our young people in these discussions around new forms of schooling, like schooling online. A lot of young people, especially in South Africa, are not used to being schooled online. And so, what are the challenges the young people face, and what advice or comments do they have that can make the environment better suited for them to be able to learn more freely and engage with the content? And so I think very critical that our partners think about different ways and platforms where they can engage our young people on the different issues related to child online safety, and seek their opinion, so that whatever products or services that you are offering are more comprehensive and also speak to young people. And so that's what we're gonna close off on the theme, and the last theme. No, so we were on child Andrew, we were on the topic of child participation, especially on policies, but we didn't have a lot of engagement. Do you have anything to say around policies, on the issue of policies and child participation? Please feel free if you do. Andrew, you
hello.
Yes.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. Thank you, Pagamile, and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Andrew from the Film and Publication Board. I just wanted to touch on important legislations around child protection. The Film and Publication Board, as a statutory body established in terms of the Film and Publication Act 65 of 1996, one of its objectives is to regulate the creation, production, possession, and distribution of films and games. And then we do that by way of classifying films and games so that we are able to protect consumers against harmful and disturbing material, while allowing adults to make informed choice for themselves and then for the children under their care. So we classify a movie and a game, we give it an age rating, consumer advice, so that as a parent or even as a child, before you can even get into the movie, you are able to know what are the elements that are in the movie, whether you will be able to to tolerate whatever that is in the movie. For instance, if there is a strong language in the movie, there is nudity, violence, sex, and so on and so on. So it's one of our objects to actually protect consumers and even children, and also just to protect children from exposure to those disturbing material that can harm them, and from premature exposure to adult material as children. And then our act, it also makes use of children in pornography and exposure to pornography punishable in terms of the act. Now, just to give you an example, in terms of our act and under section 24B, and here I'm speaking of harmful material such as child pornography. Now, in terms of our act, any person who unlawfully possesses child pornography, who creates or produces child pornography, you might be distributing, exporting, or importing child pornography, or even films and games that contains scenes of child pornography, or maybe advocates, encourage, advertise, or promotes sexual exploitation of children. That is a criminal offense in terms of our act. And then our act, more importantly, impose an obligation on every person who has a knowledge, not only knowledge, even a suspicion, a mere suspicion of someone, having, dealing with child pornography, to actually report such knowledge or even suspicion to SAPS so that they can investigate the matter further. Now, let me also indicate that as the Film and Publication Board, we do have an amendment act. The act was passed sometime last year by the Parliament and signed by the President. And once the act comes into effect, it will criminalize specific conduct, including the distribution of private sexual photographs in any medium, including internet, without the prior consent of an individual. So here we're talking about what is commonly known as revenge porn. For an example, couple will be in a sexual relationship and then they take pictures of each other, maybe naked or half naked. But when the relationship goes sour, one partner starts sharing the pictures with friends or other people just to humiliate the other partner. So this is one of the things that our act introduces. The act is an amendment act. It's not yet into operation, but it was signed. We are still in the process of developing regulations. In fact, we do have a draft regulation in place, which they will be published for public comments, I think, in the coming weeks, so that relevant stakeholders and the public at large can actually give inputs on the regulations. Once the regulations are finalized and the Amendment Act will come into effect. Okay.
So sorry to cut you short there, Andrew. It's just that, and thank you so much for highlighting all those important regulations and acts that FPB has been engaged with in ensuring that young people are safe online, and some of the stuff that also our young people have engaged with around, and Joan has mentioned this in the group, the South African Law Reform Commission, with regards to some of our web ranges responded to the sexual offences, pornography, and children discussion paper. And so what we really are wanting to know is, how do you allow for child participation in these discussions? And when you're formulating these acts or these discussion papers, do you allow for child participation? For example, do you have a workshop with children highlighting these important things around child pornography? What is child pornography? How is it different, or child abuse sex material? How is it different from pornography in general? Because people tend to just assume that when we say child pornography, we know what we mean, when it's actually, there's pornography and child shouldn't even be in the same sentence together. So how do we start these conversations, and does FPV engage our young people in studying these conversations and helping them understand these different terms and what they mean and also the final result of these acts and these discussion papers. What do they mean for our young people? And so, do you engage with young people on these topics, or is it just that you have a team that works on these, and then they become publicized or published, and then it is up to the relevant parties like Web Rangers to be able to educate our young people on these acts or discussion papers and legislation? Or do you involve our young people in the formulation of these regulations and legislation?
Okay, thank you, Pakamile, for the question. Look, when we publish this for comments, it's for, it doesn't really, everybody is welcome to make submission. Mostly, it will be parents, but we do have a team of colleagues from our office that do public awareness at schools, and then they get to engage with children around this issue. So we do listen to children when we do these policies via the public awareness at school, and to teach them that, look, this is not supposed to happen. If an adult come to you and say this and that, or show you this and that, that is really child pornography, and we shouldn't allow that. So that's how we engage. But I know my colleagues from the communication department who do all this public awareness might want to add something on it. So I was just trying to indicate what is it that is contained in our act regarding the protection of children.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to add, because I'm just noticing time that we have got 15 minutes left from this webinar. So I just want to, and I also want us to get to the third theme, which is digital literacy for parents and guardians. I just want to, Manala wants to add to the conversation. I think she's going to be the last person, and I'm going to conclude this section so that we can move on to the last theme for the day. Manala, please.
Thank you, Pakamile. Thank you, Pakamile. Just quickly, in terms of public participation, in the next few weeks, we'll be putting out ads calling for the public to give comments onto the regulations. So because usually we do road shows where we go to all provinces and we engage your youth, your children, your adults and parents, but because of the lockdown, we can't do that. So all submissions will be done online. But please be on the lookout. We'll be taking out ads in newspapers and on our social media pages, where we'll be giving snippets of the regulations, and they'll also be available on our website. And everyone at any age is welcomed to give input onto the regulations. And once we've got all the inputs, we'll put them together, and also we'll publish the finalized version of the regulations.
Thank you so much, Manala, for that. And again, can you then alert different partners, especially Web Rangers, so that we can then formally come up with a team that can be able, from Web Rangers specifically, that can be able to respond to any of those issues?
Definitely will do so. All our stakeholders and partners that we have will be alerted of the adverts, and when it's time for public input, we'll give everyone a chance to give their inputs. We'll keep you updated.
Thank you. And we have a comment from George saying that please can language be accessible to younger people, because regulations and the way they are written can be too technical. So that's kind of just advice from George coming there and saying that if we want young people, and if we want to empower young people to be part of these conversations, we have to make it more accessible. We have to, our language in these written documents have to be more accessible to younger people. Thank you so much. In concluding this section around child participation, we've heard from Rez the benefits of child participation in terms of boosting his confidence and making him feel as a young person that he is contributing to the solutions that are being brought forward in building our country. So the impact of and I speak knowing that I have first-hand experience because I work with these young people, and the feedback that I always get is that thank you so much for allowing us to share our opinions and for ensuring that our voices are heard on this important discussions, because we have a lot to say. I remember a quote from Joy when we spoke about other webinars that they've been engaging with, is that we have a lot of solutions to bring to the table. But if we're not part of these discussions, or no one is involving us in these discussions, then our voices and our ideas just stay within us, and they don't contribute to making this country a better place. And I think that's really critical when it comes to child participation. They have a lot to, children have a lot of input to give, even in a field that is relatively new to them. And so these discussions and these platforms are very, very empowering. And so concluding this section is that partners need to do more to ensure that child participation is a priority, especially with regards to ICT and child online safety. And so we walk away knowing that we need to do more. We need to do more, especially now with COVID-19. We need to do more to ensure that our young people's voices are heard on important matters that affect their lives. Okay, so we are moving on to our last theme, which is led by Matshidiso, Digital Literacy for Parents or Guardians. Matshidiso, please take the floor.
Hi everyone, can you hear me? Okay, so I have chosen to tackle the issue of digital literacy for our parents. And with our parents being our caregivers, literally, it is important for them to be part of the decisions that we take regarding our digital space. So the research that was conducted in 2016 by the Justice and Crime Prevention states that generally a lot of parents are aware of the dangers of the internet, and some of them worry about their children meeting dangerous people, their children sharing more than enough information online, or rather personal information, and also their children neglecting their schoolwork and focusing too much on the internet. And this shows that our parents don't have the knowledge of they don't have digital literacy to say. And by doing that, it shows that our parents don't have digital literacy knowledge or skills that will allow them to play an important role in ensuring their children become active digital citizens. So I think it is important for parents to be included in digital literacy inventions, because it allows them to play an even bigger role in encouraging us to be skilled and resilient internet users and good digital citizens. And also, there's always a risk of harm, but risk can be minimized. Risk can be minimized if children start using the correct processes of protecting themselves, for example, not accepting strangers online, and also privatizing their settings on Facebook, Instagram, and so forth, actually on all the digital platforms. And also the children not sharing any kind of personal or identifying information. Lastly, digital literacy for parents means that they can have an honest and real conversation with children about their online activities and online safety. So my question is regarding the digital literacy for parents. In what ways have the government literally tried to work together with young people to solve the issue of digital literacy for parents? What measures have been taken to make sure that our parents understand the digital world and the digital world, and they're also able to help us be better digital citizens?
Thank you so much, Matshidiso. And I think it's not only just to government, it's to also big businesses and civil society like WebRangers. I'll speak first for WebRangers in terms of what we have done, and certainly there's always an opportunity to do more. So what we have done with WebRangers, starting in 2017, is to also have start to engage with our parents during parents meetings. So we would attend parents meetings and kind of outline the need for parents to be included in digital literacy, and give them and empower them with tools so that they can lead the discussions, and also be a support for young people. Your last point was very, very critical, is that we need our parents to be in the know around digital literacy, so that when things happen to young people, young people feel that they can go to their parents and their parents will be understanding, because they know the digital world and they know the risks and harms that are involved, and they can have honest conversations with their parents about their digital lives. And they can only have those conversations if their parents are not in denial about the digital world, if they don't know what is mixed from Twitter to Instagram and all those things. They need to know the different platforms. They need to know why is my child on Instagram versus Facebook? What is the interest that is? Why is there so much interest in Instagram versus Facebook? They need to know those things so that they can then better advise their children on these issues. and what WebRangers has done, and certainly there can be more has to be done. But what WebRangers has done in the last couple of years is to hold parent workshops where we provide parents with the tools, and we also ask them to start having serious, real conversations with the young people about what they're doing online and who they are online. And what they want to achieve. You're not just on Instagram just for just. There's something that you want to achieve. There's a need that you're fulfilling by being on these platforms. And what is that need? And how can parents be part of shaping that and be included in these very important discussions? And we've tried to kind of connect our parents to the deeper meaning of being a digital citizen, an active digital citizen. But certainly more needs to be done. And going forward, especially now with COVID-19, as I said, more young people being online, we need to do more. We need to do more to include them in these discussions. I see in the discussion a lot of people want to add. I think Sylvia, Diana had a hand up to answer. Diana, I'm gonna give straight to you so she can answer from a private sector, and then Sylvia, and then Yolanda.
Thanks, Pakamile. I think that is an excellent point, Matsudisho. And I think what we need to do is, I think all of sort of big business and private sector have recognized that as a need that needs to be addressed. And I think certainly in our, in Diana Schwartz Attorney's perspective, when we do educational talks, we actually started making it compulsory for not only doing a learner talk, but doing a parent talk. Because what we found is that parents are in the dark when it comes to online safety and devices and the different things that their children are participating in. And therefore, a lot of them are at a loss as to how to address these things and protect their children, and also talk to their children about these various issues. So I think that we all definitely recognize that parents have to be included in digital literacy so they can better be equipped to protect their kids and put in the relevant measures that are needed. So, for example, something that we talk about a lot to parents is child protection software. Yolanda spoke about filtering in inappropriate content and Facebook also. So our platforms have got certain tools that can be used. And when we have the proper software in place, like firewalls or protection software, we can protect our children from things that they shouldn't be seeing or things that can pop up whilst they are doing their online learning, for example. Like I'm sure you guys heard of the Zoom bombing that's been happening, where children are having Zoom online lessons, and then all of a sudden somebody hacks it and there's other inappropriate content that comes onto the sessions. So I think that it is a great point, and it's definitely something that we should continue working on. And you know, educating parents. We also do tips on our social media pages for parents on how to further protect their children. And we always encourage parents to familiarize themselves with online safety and to help their kids put in the correct settings, etc., and to know what is happening on social media so that they can actually have the conversation with you. And I think the difficulty is a lot of parents just don't know anything about devices. They don't know anything about you know, the online world, and they therefore find it difficult and feel like they're not equipped to assist you guys, which I think is hard for you. What we're also doing, or what we're working on, is writing a series of books with regards to younger children, which is basically social media online safety for super smart kids. So it's aimed at very young children up to the age of 12, but also to equip and educate parents on this is actually what this means. And for a young child to understand, this is what I'm doing when I go into my iPad, and these are the dangers I should look out for as well. So that's what we're doing. I'm sure Yolanda and Farai and Sylvia will add to that.
Sorry, Fakamila, I think you're on mute.
Oh, sorry, I was saying that you can take us through what Facebook has been doing. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. And thank you, Diana, for sharing what you are doing. And I do agree with you. As Facebook, we are prioritizing engaging with parents, especially when we're looking at our work around child safety, because we realize that you cannot handle issues of child safety in a vacuum. So you have to engage with the parents, and you also have to engage with educators, because these are people who are very key in the life of a child as they're growing up, and are very key also in sharing or passing down lessons on how to be safe online. And so the way we engage with parents is, number one, as we are developing products that are targeted at young people, we always ensure that we have conversations with parents to, number one, understand the issues that their children are facing online. And because we also see these parents as overseers of children's online experience, also for them to share with us some of the challenges they experience as they're supporting their children to navigate the online world safety. So when you look at our Messenger Kids product, it's been developed with a parent and a child navigating the online world together. And so you find that, yes, the child is able to communicate with other children, but there are parental controls that have been put in place to just ensure that the parent has the oversight over the conversations, over what the child is doing, and also giving an opportunity to just have that conversation. Because another thing that we realize is navigating the online world, especially for young people, is also like a trust building opportunity. So for children to be able to talk to their parents about the challenges that they are experiencing online, they also need to feel like they can trust their parent. And so in the products that we are coming up with, in the resources that we are coming up with, we are encouraging conversations between young people, their parents, and also these educators. So we also have the Parents Portal within Facebook, which is a hub with resources dedicated to parents to help them navigate the online world, to help them have safety conversations with their children. And we also have the Get Digital Hub, the Get Digital resources, which were developed with child safety experts to, again, help young people, parents, and educators have conversations on online safety, get curriculums that would enable them go through lessons and ensuring that their online experience is safe. So thank you.
Thank you, Sylvia. Yolanda, you up next. Yeah. And then we're going to have on the group chat, just for Web Rangers, sorry, Yolanda, before you start, just for Web Rangers to think about answering Tawana, he says that he has a question. If he reports someone online, does the police take him away? And that's the first question, and it's directed to Web Rangers. So please give advice to Tawana. He wants to know what happens when he reports someone, what happens to that person. And then I think this is more directed to Yolanda from Google. How much money can I make on YouTube Kids? So just please have those questions in mind. We're going to go to Yolanda, and then we'll come back to answering that question.
Thanks, Pagamile. So, sorry, I just got distracted. The question around parents is a very, very important one. And I think, so I won't repeat what has been said because the partners have already covered that. But as a company, we also, take this very, very seriously. And as a result, one of the things that we focus on is ensuring that parents or caregivers have the necessary tools, information at hand for them to continuously look at if they forget something or if they want to learn about something. So this has really been critical to one of our major responses when it comes to parent engagement. Part of this includes, the safety center that Google has. In that safety center, it specifically even says for families. And so if you click on for families, it will take your parents and yourself through a number of resources that will help you or will help parents help their children be safer online. It will also, sort of teach parents about how to set parental controls, because it's one thing to have parental controls, but if you don't know how to set them or find them, it's then not so useful. So this page or portal really has a wealth of information And also for the user itself. So even for children, like, how do you protect yourself online? How do you enable privacy settings? What about your data? How, what is being done with your data? So all of that information is sort of included in that safety center that we have as Google, which I'll share on the chat. The second thing that we have, which is really targeted at parents, it's our Family Link app. And what this app really seeks to do is to help families create healthy digital habits, where your parent has oversight in terms of what you're doing online, specifically touched on Google products. So what you're doing online, setting things like bed timers, knowing that after 8 p.m. no more internet, or you are sleeping after 8 p.m. therefore your apps are disabled. So this app really helps families set up these digital habits that will help parents have these sometimes tricky conversations with their kids. The other thing that we're doing is really training parents on online safety as much as we're training the kids. What about the parents? So what we've been doing actually throughout this COVID-19 season or pandemic rather, it's not a season, is training parents on how to use safety products, how to have conversations with their kids around online safety. As we've been mentioning, a lot of us are online now. So we're having a lot of these. And for Child Protection Week in particular, on the 5th of June, we're having a online safety parents, and we'll send out invitations, and MMA and Phakamile and MMA will share these with your parents. We want your parents to be there, because in that session, we will be going in detail when it comes to all the apps that are available to help, from Google anyway, that are available to help parents keep their children online, and also to learn about online safety. So we hope that we will see your parents there. But honestly, it's a continuous engagement to ensure that parents are part of this as well. So that's what we're doing as Google.
Thank you so much, Yolanda. I think I missed Sisonke, who had also wanted to comment on this section. Please, Sisonke.
Sorry, before no, it's fine, Phakamile. I think they've all covered it. All the stakeholders, it's more or less the same thing. Thanks.
Okay.
I just wanted to answer. Oh yeah, I just wanted to answer Tawana's question.
Oh yes.
Tawana Gandhi, 11-year-old. Emila's kids are so smart. So on the YouTube Kids, how much money can I make on YouTube Kids? So the thing is, one, I think Tawana wants to be an influencer. But on YouTube Kids specifically, we do not monetize content. So content that is for kids is not monetized. Therefore, there are no ads that are being served. So this is also part of the safety narrative, ensuring that the content that is there is purely for kids, with no hidden agendas or ulterior motives. So unfortunately, Tawana, you can't make money off YouTube Kids, but as you grow older, hopefully we'll see you become an influencer.
That's
Thank you very much, Yolanda. And I see that Rez has answered. It says you'll be charged depending on what wrong you have done. Let's say if cyberbullied memes are sent to you, then the police can take him away. I think before the police can take him away, there's certain things that, like a restraining order that can be given to you, that can be given to the perpetrator. But the important thing here that Rez is communicating to Tawana is that they will be charged depending on the wrong that they have done. But another important thing that I think young people miss when it's time to report if something happens. Reporting is an important tool. It is a tool that safeguards you when you're online, and it's a tool that is very empowering because you know that something is going to be done when you report. Another thing is that when you report, it can be done anonymously. It's not that the perpetrator knows your name and where you live and your address. It can be done anonymously. The critical thing, especially on these platforms, it is really, really critical that young people report. I cannot even mention this. I can't highlight this enough. It is important to report. It is your tool of empowerment. It empowers you and allows you to stay safe online, because yes, you might not see what happens to the other person once you report it, but you can rest assured that these platforms do follow up and do ensure that your rights to access are safeguarded by reporting. So I cannot stress this enough. You have to report. Reporting empowers you. And then we'll move on to any other questions that Matsidi. So I think we've covered the first kind of questions that Matsidi has. We have really good answers. We also have our partners putting the relevant links onto the group chat. So thank you so much. Matsidi, do you have any other questions that you'd like to ask our partners on the second theme around digital literacy for parents?
No, I don't. Most of my questions have been answered. Thank you.
Most of the questions have been answered. Very, very good. And I think that right now, I know that time is not on our side. I'm going to give just 5 minutes to get any feedback, any final feedback from our audiences. So other young people that have not been given an opportunity to speak today, please give us your feedback. How are you feeling about entering Child Protection Week? What are your concerns? What are some of the concerns that still haven't been addressed through this webinar, so that we can take it forward and ensure that all of your concerns are addressed around child online safety, so that you are empowered to be in the online space and you can use the internet to your advantage and take advantage of the opportunities that the internet has to offer to make your life and those around you better. So any kind of feedback that you have for us, any questions
Hello.
not answered, and any concerns? Yes.
Hello. I was about to ask a question. What can the government actually do about discrimination and bullying during social media and at school for kids?
Okay, so we have a question around what can government do around discrimination and bullying for kids, in specifically on these online platforms. I think our partners can also answer that. So they're not from government, but I think they have initiatives and they have platforms. Their platforms also work very hard to ensure that young people are not bullied and they are not discriminated. I know with Facebook they have several initiatives. Farai or Sylvia, can you speak on these?
Sorry, I didn't get the question. Please come.
The question was, well, it's directed to government, but I think also partners can answer this. It's what are the different, the initial question, what can government do to ensure that there's no racism, there's no bullying, there's no really any kind of cyber ills that are happening to young people in the online space?
Yeah, so thank you for that. Thank you for that question. So in terms of ensuring that, I think generally that the experience of our young users is safety is ensuring that we have the right policies in place that will address any of the safety issues that you're mentioning. So when it comes to bullying and harassment, when it comes to issues of also child exploitation imagery, anything that affects young children, is putting in place the right policies that will ensure such content that does not exist on any of our platforms. And when we find it, we take it down. And in cases where we also need to work with law enforcement, that we actively working with law enforcement to safeguard the lives of the young people that are using our platform. So I would say the most important is having in place the policies. The second bit is also empowering the users on our platforms to be able to have the right resources and the tools to navigate the online spaces safely. So we have safety and privacy tools that ensure that the information that you are sharing is viewed by the people you want to view, that you're able to report whenever you want to report, and you're also able to interact with people that you want to interact with. And for people you do not want to interact with, then you block them. So having this tool and ensuring that also the public is educated on this. So we acknowledge as Facebook, we might not be able to reach each and every person on the ground, but working with partners like Web Rangers, like Diana, just to ensure that the public is also aware that these policies exist and these tools and resources exist to ensure that their experience on our online platforms is safe.
Effectively as they should be. Agreed. We also have the Prevention and Combating of Hate Crimes and Hate Speech Bill. So we do have legislation and bills from government that are curbing hate speech and hate crimes in South Africa. And so I think the important thing around this regulation and this legislation is that we need to make it more accessible. How are they accessible to young people, so that young people know their rights and then are able to safeguard it through these policies, through these legislations, through these bills. So I think the important thing is going forward is to highlight how we can make this more accessible to our young people. So thank you very much for that. I think the general question is that what can other young people do to safeguard other young people's rights to access the internet without being bullied or without enduring different cyber ills that a lot of young people endure on the online space. And before I see Joy's hand up, and definitely we'll get to you, and I want more of you guys to kind of answer. But he talked about something towards the end about maybe getting them and beating them up. One of the critical things that we always encourage with Web Rangers, don't let a bully turn you into a bully. And so, and retaliating and getting physical and just responding negatively to what is being said to you is not helping the situation. Part of being an active digital citizen is also knowing that you want to always be the bigger person and you want to follow procedure. That doesn't mean being the bigger person doesn't mean that you let things slide. Being the bigger person means that you follow the correct procedures to ensure that they are handled in the way that they should be by the different platforms or by the police or by the relevant parties involved. But you don't take the law into your own hands. So that's really critical that we want to highlight that just before we get our young people to comment. Joy, you had your hand up.
Yes, I did. So if you're seeing that somebody, a friend of yours, even perhaps somebody that you don't know, is being bullied or anything in the comment section, perhaps they're people commenting negatively on whatever it is, perhaps it's their looks or anything, don't be quiet about it. Definitely report the account, because perhaps the person, like let's say for example, I am being cyberbullied and I don't have the, perhaps I, number one, don't have the knowledge to know that I can actually report and block and do all of that to the person. Number two, perhaps I'm scared to do that. You know, perhaps I do not, perhaps I know this person and I don't want anything to happen to them, but at the same time, I want the bullying and everything to stop. So if you see it happening to somebody else, definitely report and block the person. And that's the best thing you could do. Don't just ignore it, because you could be helping somebody else. Maybe I'm not brave enough to do it myself. Who knows what the reasons could be, but definitely don't just be quiet and just think that it's whatever, you know. So definitely report the person and try to help everybody or anybody that you see. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Joy. We can get another person and then we really have to close off. We've gone way ahead of time. I'm going to ask another young person to give their feedback or comment just on generally on what the advice that we need to give to this other young person that was online, or generally to the webinar, and any feedback, any concerns that you have that haven't been addressed, that we can try to, when we move on from this discussion, we can try to have with the relevant parties or partners. Just one more person.
Isn't the best thing to do is just report the person, maybe on the platform?
On the platform. Thank you so much. Again, highlighting the real serious tool of reporting. We cannot stress it enough. Report. I know it sounds like you're not doing anything, but you actually are. And you are ensuring that other young people that are also on the platform do not encounter this person. The measures will be taken into place that will ensure that you don't easily encounter this person, so that other children don't easily encounter this person. And so definitely report. Buhle, you had your hand up. Buhle, if there's no one else, I'm going to ask that you be the last person.
Okay, so another way for people to actually, because sometimes when you report a bully, there's no like evidence or people don't believe you. You could like tag screenshots of whatever conversation you are going through with that person in case people don't believe you. And yeah, the next step might be taken against that person.
Thank you so much, Buhle. I'm going to read through the comments by Diana. You have rights and you can take legal action against cyberbullies and online predators. The first step is to take screenshots, what Buhle had just said, of the bullying text. Then tell an adult you can assist you to take legal actions. What also Joy said is that whatever happens, whatever cyber ills or incidences that you may encounter online, you have to tell an adult that you can trust about it, especially if it is something that has been ongoing. And that you need help with. Tell an adult that you can trust. And this is again why we're including the theme digital literacy for parents, because if your parents understand these issues, they can be in a better position to help you deal with these issues. And then you can also approach the courts for protection order against bullies and harassers, even without your parent guidance in terms of the Protection of Harassment Act. Thank you so much for that. Again, now including the kind of regulation and policies, again, the need for young people to know these. Not a lot of people even know about the Protection of Harassment Act. And so if you don't know about these acts or policies or legislation, you cannot use them to empower yourself. I think we've come to really the end of this discussion. It was a very in-depth discussion about online safety, but also I think there's more that needs to be done. We've highlighted just 3 here important themes that our young people were really eager to talk about, which is around access to devices, data, and digital literacy for young people. We also spoke about child participation in policies, especially related to child online safety, and then the last one was around digital literacy for our parents. And we can see when these things come up, and when young people ask this question, that all these three are interlinked. And there's a need for our partners that are here today and those that are absent to do more to address these issues and to ensure that our young people are safe online. Thank you so much for taking the time. I know we've run out of time to join us on this very important discussion. I've put my details there, and if you want to follow our work or what WebRangers are doing, please follow us on the different platforms. And lastly, ensure that during, at least for Child Protection Week, you are spreading the message around child online safety to at least other young people that are not privileged to be in these platforms and to engage with important partners like Facebook, like Google, like government. So ensure that you are safe online, but take it further than that. Take it beyond Child Protection Week and make it a personal priority for you as a young person to ensure that other young people are safe online and sharing the message around child online safety. I can't thank you enough for taking part in this webinar. We'll be posting more stuff that we're doing around WebRangers. Please follow our platforms so that you can follow what WebRangers are doing, and you can be part of this amazing movement to ensure that young people across the country are active digital citizens and are contributing firsthand to ensuring that our country is better. Thank you.